I I ate today. I had a lunch, a beautiful lunch. Mom purchased a chicken, but for my lunch I had to listen to a telephone. Row, row, row. And interesting, she locked herself inside of the room and she continued to call herself for 15 minutes. Oh, when I tried to get to her, the doors were locked. She wouldn't even respond. Then I came back and she did respond me, so this stuff is confirmed, is real. Not surprised about it. Every time there is something dangerous for the Kuchan, for the psychiatrist cops, for this police garbage here from Novo Mesto, when it comes close to all this stuff, it's always they do something to disrupt, to disturb. And in the past, this stuff might have even worked on me, but for some time now it doesn't. They tried this already before, and they tried today again. As soon as I got up, I went and I eat, and that's exactly the way it was. And so they did some circus. There was another lady here that it was pretty loud and everything. And I know when they do this stuff that there is something that is just, you know, it'll sleep starve you and so on, just to get attention away from the source. So we're gonna go back to Kursk rail area. This one here, this stuff here. I posted about this here yesterday, and this is a biggie. This is a biggie. This is what I am really interested in. That's the one. That's the one. This is the one. This is the big one. This is where war might have even commenced. This here, right here. While the tube you see right there was nowhere to be found till this was the last thing, was this tube here that you see that this guy is inside, was the last thing, that the last improvement that was added to this stuff. I'm gonna get to all this stuff in a little bit. Word is about Milan Kuchan, and what I anticipate even Milan Kuchan being audio recorded at this location here. This is a city, Kursk, in Russia. The Ukrainian military had something a little to say here around Suja area. I don't go and go through the cities, because I would never end talking about the cities, because they had me all over the globe, and in every city you're gonna find graffiti and shit. Violence was abundant in every city around the world. They paid really well for the violence, this espionage and stuff like that. They really did. And so interesting, I would not even notice, like this, when you look at the Kursk, like this Kursk, I didn't even notice anything, you know. And this is not the proximity. I would zoom in. I zoomed like this to see basically where the Suja is, and the area right here, this here, Balya, all this, Korenov, all this. This is everywhere I was here, where the Russian military practiced defense techniques and so on a future possibility of the conflict. Although they really did not believe in it, that something like this would happen. They did thoroughly evaluated entire terrain, everything, and coordinated this also with the Ukrainian military in case of invasion. They were supplied with information from Ukrainian side, everything, and the rail station like this doesn't even look like, I don't know what, really. You should see one in a Gießen, where I was in immigration in asylum camp. Gießen is a little city over there in Germany, like this. That's a Gießen. That's not even too far from Frankfurt. Wetzlar is close. And yeah, the rail, like a rail, I've seen cities with a rail. Let me see that. Yeah, this is a big ass rail here in Gießen. They have this place here. Always I saw this stuff here. A lot of rail tracks. I've seen a lot of cities, but this rail here is very, very special. Now you don't even see this. There is no Perechodny most, anything like that. There's nothing like that. You don't see this from afar. There is nothing. But really, this place here, this is a big ass. This is like anywhere in the Russia you would travel since I was a baby. I have written down here 1980, F980. You know, anywhere you would travel. Yeah, that's why we're gonna do this stuff again. Zelensky started Russian, yeah. He was going on emissions, but I did made few crucial things. It might have been. I have to be very, very specific about Zelensky's espionage business. Zelensky espionage business was such that Zelensky did several tours to Russia, espionage tours. And those espionage tours went on in 1998, 1998. And it was established that I got an idea that he was not allowed to come anywhere even close. No, this is difficult to explain. I did not know who this guy was. I studied him thoroughly during MK Ultra. And I wanted to establish on whose side this guy is. This is what I was doing for everybody. They knew basically that, you know, they know that I was really dangerous. They knew that I can pick up the signal really quickly about who is on which side. I mean, just like in real life, I was a hawk. I'll see you through you like with an X-rays machine, drugged up about who and what you are on which side. And so I did all kinds of shit to get the signals back and evaluate based on my logic about who you and what side you are. And for the Zelensky, I'm gonna say to you that they sent him on a mission, but Zelensky was afraid of me. Zelensky was afraid of me when it comes to the missions in Russia. He did the mission too in Russia like this, and he requested not to go there no more. It was just really briefly, and I sensed it that he did so because he was afraid of me. They were all afraid of me. They all knew that, you know, that deep inside of me there was everything like you would typewrite on a typewriter. You know, everything was in order. On the surface, it was a lot of anarchy and all kinds of issues floating, but deep underneath, it was everything in order. They knew it, and I think whoever Zelensky, I think he even requested by pointing at me at one point in time. This is something Zelensky had to explain about. So, to no longer be this, you know, what I feel about it, that he was in the Russia, that he would climb on the other side of the Russia, and I feel that he did, without my presence, meet with the Russian side. The Ukrainian side maintained a strong, I believe, relation with a Russian side, and I think that Zelensky had a lot to do with it. I think that he visited Russia a lot, tremendously a lot. And I believe he did this right through the Sumy region. The Sumy region was exactly the region where this stuff would go through more than any other region, I think. Maybe not. There is Kursk, and Kursk is a train connection to all the parts of the Russia and so on and so forth. I think he, on his own, he did a lot of missions between 1998 and between, like, I would say 2004. I think he was really busy. Okay? So very specific about the way he was doing this stuff. He requested not to. You know, maybe in 2001, maybe 2002, again he became active with me across the border. Something justice would be used to refresh me the memory or something in that sense. But he was working through different channels, maybe just to make the presence seen with me on the picture and so on. That's the way. This is Zelensky. You ask Zelensky about this stuff, because this is now with the precision. This is the second time. This stuff here, it angers me because it reminded me of a few things. So, but I want to be very detailed about this stuff, because this isn't about Zelensky. Zelensky is a small fish when it comes to this stuff. Zelensky even signaled me that it would be the Kursk to remind me of something important. And really, this incursion in a Kursk area scared the shit out of me for various reasons, none more than for the Ukrainian military. That's what I got scared the most, because that's, you know, they had a scenario how they're gonna cut them off and stuff like this, and many cities with a rail is what I'm trying to say. That one I could not even see from the distance. Kursk was one of the most violent. Okay, Kursk was one of the most violent Russian cities involved in MK Ultra since my early childhood. In a little bit you will understand why I didn't want to go zoom myself in a Kursk. I did saw some bridge, under the bridge graffiti and stuff like that. That was Suja or whatever and so on, and so I just backed out. You can tell that this war is being run really politically, that this war is being run by politicians, because if somebody like myself would be running this war, that would be a hell to pay, you know. Nebo bi se utrgalo, you know, we say the sky would rip apart if I was running this war. It would be, like people say, unprecedented. The payback I would give to Kursk, especially to Donetsk. I don't think they would be waiting for me to come. That's why I don't go and I don't look the city. I don't do this. If I do it from the distance. I prefer not to see what people were doing with me where. But this is interesting, unless it makes more sense, and this one does make sense. Sorry, when I think about this stuff in Russia, I don't get emotional. I get, yeah, it's hard to, it's exactly what I explained. It's exactly what I explained. It's just, I was afraid this here, I even consider this as a suicide based on the brainwash, MK Ultra brainwash, for which Belarus, Lukashenko even insisted that he will invade, once the Russians invade Sumy region, that he too will invade the Sumy region. And foremost, I got afraid for the soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers, they're gonna be cut away from again Ukraine in the area of Kursk, and basically almost exactly about what Russians are trying to do, you know. So I even reacted to that this idea, which I supported during MK Ultra. I supported the idea of Ukrainian incursions also in the Russian territory. I was not interested in playing some kind of a defense technique that would allow Russians to take on one piece on another, and I was the one who encouraged to use, you know, infiltration, all kinds of techniques, you know, to inflict harm on Russian invaders. And so when I saw this stuff, I was the one who encouraged. This was Zelensky's idea, the Kursk, and I think idea so far, it appears to was very powerful. That was a tremendous gain for Ukraine. I think the gain should have been much bigger. I hope the Ukraine is going to capitalize on this here, on this rail. This rail must not be protected by Angela Merkel, by the German politicians, by the British royals that were using this rail, this city, for you know, for the commutes throughout the Russia. I understand that they were here. I understand that they gave the promises, but I will also remind of the British royals giving promises to Ukrainians on Crimea, and they were begging them, asking them, warning them during these Illuminati meetings that were taking also in Crimea. These Illuminati meetings were taking place on many different locations, and Crimea just happens to be one of those locations as well, where Illuminatis would meet. And you know, they gave them a promise that it'll be okay, you know, protected and so on. And you know, this is just a tragedy what took place with the Crimea, well, with entire Ukraine. So this rail here, you know, this rail here, I will not understand if you don't bomb the fuck out of it, if you don't get this rail annihilated completely, totally. This was a pride of the Vladimir Putin. I'm gonna get to this stuff. I will not understand the incursion to Kursk if you don't do it. Past the fucking British royals, past the fucking German politicians and all this European garbage that was posing there with, you know, and giving the promises, whatever. I don't give a three fuck about you. You're fucking nobody. This is war. And when the war is, you do whatever it needs to be done. And this rail here might have been exactly the rail Russians were using to start the war on Ukraine. Now, the one who talked Russians, the one who might have even talked Russians into the war on Ukraine during the Soviet Union times, when I was a child, when I was still a child, a tremendous instigator in the war on Ukraine, a bloodthirsty individual that would have literally saliva running out of his mouth from the madness with a single thought on Ukraine, was none other than Milan Kuchan, a madman, a little 1 meter 57 madman, who managed to convince crazy fucking Polacks through the Czechs and others that he is in fact siding with them, that he is in fact, you know, you don't know how much I suffered because of this insane Polacks and Czechs that, believe it or insane or not, sided with the Milan Kuchan against me because of Russian incursion, because of the so-called Soviet incursion into the Czechoslovakia. During which Josip Broz Tito deputized one, Josip Broz Tito deputized one to express dissatisfaction, to deputize one to express a dissatisfaction in 1968, but this was in 1968. Josip Broz Tito deputized one to express the dissatisfaction with the Soviet troops invading.
Nas je ponovno prepričala, da živimo v svetu, ki ga urejajo zakoni nasilja, v imenu katerih se malim narodom odreka pravica, da odločajo svobodno, samostojno in s polno odgovornostjo.
This is about invasion on Czechoslovakia in 1968. Yes, but this was in 1968, But when I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and this man traveled alongside my side, maybe they have done something to him. I have no fucking idea. This was a leader of the. He protested in 1968. He protested the Soviet invasion on Czechoslovakia. I was just gonna say not that will make any difference, because that didn't make any fucking difference anyways. But yeah, he did give a publicity to the Russian invasion on Czechoslovakia, 1968. But what I find it bizarre is that as early in this Kursk rail, this stuff was used. This is a beautiful view, is this one here. This is where you get the rail stuff, the Kursk, the rail. This is where you know, this is beautiful here to me. To me, this is beautiful, this here. This is where I would travel with my schoolmates from Osnovna Škola Grm. Some of the schoolmates from Osnovna Škola Grm would even be here, from the grammar school. The violence started here at this train stations. However, sometimes when I was like 6-7 years of age, in this violence there would be houses. The Russians, when I was a child like this, they were not really like houses from the Russians, like in area here, the housing, the residential housing. And no, I had a few beautiful Russian people that liked me. I remember some beautiful blonde ladies here, Russian. You know, they liked me. They would just, some of them, they would even take me for theirs. They completely took me for theirs. But guess what happened? This man here who traveled alongside, you know, he was the one who created for the violence, and he engaged local people into the violence. The first people who got involved in the violence were not the residential people, not these people here from these residential neighborhoods. Oh, this is exactly how this stuff was. It was a housing, you know, so as well as mine, who the hell knows? Might have been exactly this one here, the neighborhood, you know, talking about the housing, you know, housing neighborhood. Might have been exactly this stuff here. Might have been exactly this area. You know, how many times I found myself in the morning as a child here in this area, like this housing, this kind of stuff. And the first people who got involved in this stuff, were the Russian rail workers, police officers, government employees, in other words. And they spread this violence. There was one guy in particular that would take initiative together with the Serbs, that he would go to these neighborhoods and so on, and it started to solicit. And then you have one resident, and they finally get two residents, and they continue to pressure on the residents, and they spread the violence. And then eventually it started to go from house to house and so on. Almost. Not all the Russians did this stuff. I have to admit, not all the Russians did it. No, not all the Russians did it. So this violence here started sometimes when I was age 6, 7. So Milan Kuchan sometimes at age probably 1985, I would say. 1985, 1984, that's like 6, 7, 8, 4 grade, 1984, 1983, Milan Kuchan shocked everybody. There was British royals there, there was other people there, and Milan Kuchan repeatedly would bring the subject. He did already that before to me, but in 1984 he brought a subject on a table which insisted that I inquired. That was actually in the 7th grade of the grammar school in 1983, in front of the British royals at the rail station. There's the rail station, the old rail station. The old rail station must have been really close to this neighborhood here, whatever housing neighborhood this here, that neighborhood was one. And let me see something else here. That neighborhood, this was the neighborhood where the Serbs would deliver me here in this neighborhood. Everybody knows me in this neighborhood here. But there was another neighborhood, something little, that was even closer. So I am actually even anticipating, no, might have been this neighborhood the closest one, and therefore then the bus station where we would pick up, we would wait for the train, the train station, that must be here then in this side, Kursk. So this here probably is even the old rail station. Now let me see that stuff. So we were not waiting at the rail station the way you see it here. Yeah, they would have me wait away. They would not deliver me to the rail station. They would have me down away. They would have us like this, at these locations, like that, like this, And when the time would come to go, I don't even, what the fuck is this here? To go, to approach, oh, okay, from this side, okay? This kind of stuff. No. What the hell is this? It's not zooming inside in there. When the time would come to take a train, to board the train and this and that, that's where we would go here to this rail station and so on, or bus station, or whatever the fuck they were doing, whatever they would transfer me. But other than that, they would keep low profile, talking about the Serbs, Slovenian also police, all kinds of garbage that would deliver me here for a beating, literally for the torture. So in between these train transfer sessions, there will be a beating, a hell to pay. Yeah, and that was done here in the Kursk city, which was becoming more and more and more violent. Once at the request of their Russian cousins Serbs, this turned out into the hell city of total evil, literally like this. Okay, so now I'm giving you impression about what this was like. I gave you impression about what this was like and who had done this stuff, you know, who did this stuff. I did not investigate this rail station yet entirely. I didn't go thoroughly through this stuff, but this here would, for me, this would just do it for me. It's enough. I give you in and out. But in 1983, that was in a 7th grade of the grammar school, I was drugged up, maybe even a 6th grade of the grammar school. They had me drugged up. There was a schoolmates. Evil stuff went on. Eventually it came out of my mouth. Maybe it did came out of my mouth, and I'm not certain whether it did or did not come out of my mouth. It could well be that this man put the stuff in my mouth. Now this man became an enemy of the Russian state because of this stuff. And Josip Broz Tito, who encouraged him into the brave talk like this, was also the one who grabbed Milan Kučan and gave Milan Kučan back to the Russians. This is the way it was. So if you did something stupid, if you said something stupid against the so-called Soviet Union, the only thing that happened was, even if you did this on behalf of your president, on behalf of your government, the sooner than not, your president would give you on a hook and offer you to the Russians to rip you apart. Then you were given a chance to either comply with it, become part of their Russian system, or they fucking kill you. Now, if you were a big guy, a well-known guy like this guy was, this was the head of the communists in Slovenia, supposedly communists, you know what I mean, they could not make you disappear just like that. And he was really, really good at proving loyalty to the Russians. So they gave him some chunga-lunga, they gave him some chunga-chunga in Russia. In Russia, they gave him some women to fuck. I'm not going to excuse for this, because this is bizarre stuff, but this guy is so violent and primitive guy once you get to really know who he is behind that mask. Extremely efficient when you get him on a camera. He get his journalists completely brainwashed before he give himself an interview on a camera here in Slovenia. That's how he does it. But when you get to know this individual, this 1.57 m violent thug, then you see him from a different picture. I'm not sure if I was the one who inquired about Kursk being bombed, at the rail station being bombed in my 7th grade of grammar school. I find it bizarre. I don't know why the fuck I would do this. I was not contemplating on a war with the Soviet Union. I had no. This is a Russian psychologist, psychiatrist that were involved in it when I was a child. It did not really cross my mind that anything about nuclear or attack on Russia or doing something to Russia. It really did not. That's why I believe that it was this guy who said to me, I remember his words. He said to me, what did you said? You said nuclear attack, bomb this, and he did this in front of my schoolmates because he wanted to get the feedback, as you know, that I said something. I had nothing to do with it. Basically, in other words, he put the words in my mouth. I had nothing to do with it. This is how this guy was doing. So from that moment on, Milan Kucan continued to repeat this. This might have been even in the 6th grade of the grammar school. This might have been even in 1982, 1983. He started to repeat like fucking crazy stuff. I had nothing to do with it. That I said this, and so on. That I said this, and this was a frequently used techniques that they would use during MK Ultra, basically to put something in your mouth that you said you did, you had not, and then you would be subjected to the torture and you would be repeated till you would be disgusted so much that you would even say, so what the fuck, like you say in a normal way in your life. You would say, so what the fuck if I did, even if you didn't. Like you would say, and even if I did say so, in that sense, you know, and even if I did and say, yeah, okay, I did, in that sense, this would look like in a real life. But during MK Ultra, it's a different psychology. During MK Ultra, this sounds like you get insulted, you get beaten up, you thought you did something you had not, till you actually, because of your dignity, you agree you said. You know, this is the typical classic MK Ultra. Through the violence, they repeat, using violence literally. After initial lie that you did, this was in the 6th grade of the grammar school. 6th grade of the grammar school. In 6th grade, I was 12 years of age. 6 years old, 6th grade of grammar school. 12 years old I was. 1983, 1982. And this is what Milan Kucan continued to carry on and instigate even inside of our house here in Novo Mesto. He did this stuff in front of British royals. He started to instigate and claim that I made claims that this rail tracks here to be bombed. Milan Kucan admitted that he became tool. And Milan Kucan demanded from me to see Milan Kucan being fucked out of the Yugoslav movement into the Soviet movement through the womanizement. This rail here was a real refresher for me. You know, the way Milan Kucan would do. That's why I use profound language. I'm completely aware of it. Milan Kucan would demand from me to see myself through the violence, basically observe how, you know, they were just like me, others. And, you know, once they got the hoochie, they converted into a communist, into the pro-Soviet. That's what he demanded from me. And he demanded from me to see him, not on one occasion, womanizing, come out clearly. Oh, this guy was fucking women on a train. He was fucking women in Moscow and so on. This is not a person that depicts himself on a, but it was the stuff that involved, let's say, Gregor Golubic. It was the stuff that involves Robert Golob. We traveled through the Yugoslavia with these people literally engaging in impregnations of the Roma ladies in these lagers in Kosovo, anywhere from Kosovo to Bosnia. Literally going into these Roma camps where they would deliver me and demand for me to marry a Roma girls. They were not doing this to impress me with the Roma culture, I know so, because they had problems, and with the Chinese and with the Roma. Once I would express the interest for the girl or whatever, you would be off the picture immediately. That was a no-no. More violence and then back on the picture. So basically, dementia, like you put the head inside of the wash machine and then back on the picture. This is what they were doing. Now, I understand Robert Golob even conceived some children with the ladies down there, etc., etc. This was a ritual. This was just a normal thing for those times with the people that would redistribute me through well, in this case, this is a Soviet Union, not Yugoslavia. That was Yugoslavia. This was a Soviet Union. Ladies, this was a lot about ladies, all kinds of ladies in the pictures, on the picture. Enormously a lot of sexual stuff. And this is the story of Milan Kuchan. Now, was he doing this on behalf of the Russians? To depict me to British royals, to depict me to everybody as the ultimate evil that goes to the that is hijacked human trafficking to the Russia, and in return he wants to bomb the rail area. I do not know. I don't know whether Milan Kuchan was doing this stuff basically on his own to depict me to foreign observers as somebody who is like ultimate evil, so they would give up on me. I don't think these people were, obviously they never were. Any of these people never ever were with me. That's one thing. I stopped this notion from somebody that, it's written on the blog exactly the way it was. And it was worse than that when it concerns the so-called Western Alliance. Very bad. The Americans, Germans, Britons, and everybody, you were doing whatever the fuck was good for you. And one of the things that was good for you was also for you to do best you possibly could to get me killed, even through the psychiatric hospital. Because the torture in Britain, the torture in the United States of America, in Germany, and in France, and in Italy, and some in Norway, and in Sweden, and in Holland, in Spain, and so on, was just not enough. And in Canada, and in Australia. It was not enough. You went and you wanted to claim you did my life, even through the psychiatric hospitalization in 2012, as you did. So, I'm not doing this video to whatever. I'm just doing this for archive purposes, to demonstrate a zest for the bloodshed. It was completely indifferent from the Slovenian garbage here. From that time, this was Yugoslavia, as it was from the Russians itself. Whether that Milan Kuchan was doing, instigating in a talk. This kind of talk is a schizophrenia. If you go out there and you have your audience and you claim that child, there is an evil child and you start talking about bombard bombs flying off the sky on a railroad that these people were also using, talking about Illuminatis at large. This was one of the exclusive train transfer areas, Kursk. For the Kursk, it was said that anywhere in Russia that you travel, you must go through the Kursk in that sense. There were like 2 train transfer stations and so on, and the Kursk was just one of the rail transfer station. Kursk was one of the 2. This is the way they talked about, whatever. There was many transfer stations, rail stations and so on, many fucking stations. Some in Siberia, where I was taken off the fucking train and taken for a walk, for a hiking, to hear dogs and see prisoners and stuff like this. All kinds of stuff, man. Now, whether Kuchma was doing this on behalf of the Russians, or was just this a total fucking evil, which this guy definitely was evil. I heard that it might have been that even Milan Kuchma was the one who instigated on a bloodshed between the Russians and between the Ukrainians. Ukrainians during the Soviet Union have refused to engage themselves as much as directly in violence as the Russians. They have come under the suspicion for that. If you did not engage in violence against me, you were suspicious. Was it that Milan Kuchma, who was extremely pro-Russian because of the folk business? That's why I use this kind of language deliberately. Folk is for the people that don't have much brain in the head, you know? People that I have seen too many times, like Gregor Golovich, simple people like Robert Golob. They're people who stick the dick basically anywhere, in anything. Like, let's say, Borut Pahor, let's say, and we are talking about all the family people, all the married people and so on. You know, they say, you know how they say, but that's different. They say that's different. That is job related, they say. That's family, but that's different. That's different. So that's completely different. You know, I heard all kinds of stuff that was involved in it, but you know, this is just the minimum. Trust me that the stuff, if I tell you about the stuff that went on, and these politicians, the way, you know, the way they view themselves as in front of their spouses, in front of me, that I would see stuff, there would be fucking book to write about this stuff. So I'm not trying to be judgmental either, because these ladies were so beautiful that it would be impossible to resist. Bill Clinton would consider, let's say, sex with some of the girls that were involved in my case, or Joe Biden, as something that is job related, in a sense that you're away from home and the wife is not right here with you. And that would give him a justification basically to give the girl maybe even a few $100s for whatever. And you know, get it done for that day, whatever. But the stuff I'm talking about is of a different nature. I don't think these guys, yeah, they might have gave something to the girls, but really, luckily for the girls, there was no AIDS back then. I'm just being a little bit poisonous here, but this politicians, this is not what you think it is when they talk to you with their journalists, when they do the interviews on the cameras, on the TV, the stuff with the photos, specially selected, hand-picked by them photos that you see them not only in magazines, in newspapers, but also therefore not only in printed versions, but also on the internet. because it's the same shit. I even remember the transition from the printed edition of black and white, actually in color already sometimes, quite often more and more. Okay, sometimes in my 7th grade, to the internet version, online version media and so on. This was a big problem for Milan Kučan. Let's say Milan Kučan had a problem with these issues with the internet, because he no longer could be seen with his politicians, with his party in the same way. And so are you fucking kidding me? I was this was for the child. This is such a fucking nuisance, bizarre, when you have adult paying so much attention to the photographers, how his picture is going to be the piskerick, and you don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Because in the school, when they come to take those pictures one per year, or if your aunt says, make a smile, I'm going to take a photo of you, that lasts a few seconds. You make the smile and fuck off, basically. You go over there and with the kids, and you make your presence in the camera, and they go, and that's the end of it. The light comes out, and this is it. Unless you are my aunt from United States of America, which she came to visit when I was like 5 or 6 years of age. 4 years old, maybe, I don't know. And I was afraid of the camera. I don't know why I was afraid of the camera so much. I was a hell of a kid. I had a long hair, like a jungly, and I didn't want to be taking picture of it because of that light, because of the flash. I fear that stuff, and so the more that I fear of the flash on the camera, the more this lady was excited about her camera. She didn't pay enough attention to MK Ultra about the stuff they were doing with me, obviously. So for her it was really cute that a child just of my size as I was, a big child, just don't want to be photographed with this flash, basically. They were so much fucking around with me that you would not believe. It was so cute to them. Then they told me, well, you don't have to worry about, this is what the British, they were playing with me also, talking about Andrew and Charles. They came up on the picture and they claimed me with Princess Anne, Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip. Now that they make them already without the flash. They learn about this stuff, and to them it was extremely entertaining for the child to be afraid of the flash. And so they told me now they already make better cameras, and they told me we already have the cameras without the flash now. So obviously you understand the type of humor and stuff like this. To them this was, I was excited about the camera without the flash. I told them, yeah, that's not a problem, that's very good, how you want, whatever. So they had a lot of good time in their own way, the way they did this stuff. But I'm just giving you an idea. For me as a child, this was talking to me about the journalists that we have to watch how we take pictures and this and that during MK Ultra and stuff. My hair especially was like completely messed up from physical altercations all the time in the school. Since the kindergarten, this was basically my life. And so to me this didn't make any fucking sense. It looked good. I told Kučan, I told all these politicians that, I said to them, they had also great time with it. I told them, yeah, I would also want to have a, they were asking, they were teasing me, don't you want to have a hair like this? Nice, whatever, like he does or he does. And I said to them, yeah, that sounds good to me. I would also want to have a hair like this. I said, yeah, okay, I agree with it. And so this is how they were enjoying themselves during MK Ultra. This was the fun thing for them. Of course, in real life, this was not affordable. You know, you go to the school and your hair is fucked up very quickly, so and you don't have a choice, basically. Actually, for some time in the school, I was paying attention to, and I was, you know, fixing my hair. I was fixing my hair, you know, but well, this was the fixing hair basically in the school, classic. Because other than that, you had to bring the comb with you, whatever, and you know that's too complicated, whatever. So this is the way the childhood went. I don't know whether it was the Russians that incited Milan Kuchan to talk about bombardment of the rail in Kursk. Today, even when I think about this stuff as a child, as I was, I don't actually find that this would come out of me, that I would want to go and bomb the rail. I do not understand why the fuck I would do this. I was not into the terrorism. I was not into any kind of violence. I was not into, no, I was not in any kind of, I viewed this physical stuff in a completely different light from a military. You know, it's a funny way. The children see this in a funny way. I was not interested in getting anybody killed. I did not wish I could get anyone killed in real life. Oh man, till I was probably I was at 30. At 39, I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital, and that was in 2012. Till sometimes in 2015, and I know the police is going to be extremely happy about this video, but that's 42 years of age with shit that I have gone through you would not fucking believe. And that pertained to American politics. That actually pertained to Barack Obama, literally. To the stuff that was done to me without any, in other words, without my having the reason, serious suspicion, well articulated, well sequenced, I would not, for fuck's sake, despite everything that went on, I would not think about hurting anybody seriously, no matter what. No matter what, that I would go and hurt somebody, that I would go and break somebody's hand or break somebody's teeth, under no fucking circumstances. No fucking circumstances. Once I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital, this is when I started to view the world very, very, very differently. I admit that, because it was too much for me, for my taste. However, during MK Ultra, because of the stuff that was done to me, I did request it even for Slovenia to be nuked out of existence. I'm not gonna be lying to you. Even I was begging, most likely it was Slovenian police that played a scenario on me that suggested they will nuke Slovenia and so on. Actually, that happened in front of real George W. Bush, because he acknowledged me as insane because of my request to have Slovenia nuked out of existence. Man, for during MK Ultra, the world was, these are two parallel worlds. One is the real world where stuff like this is not happening to you, and then is an underground world, the MK Ultra world, when they do a lot of violent, very bad stuff to you. And so this would be like you have two programs running simultaneously on the computer, which really I did not ever allow. And that's why I did not allow, because I didn't want to go into the psychiatric hospital. As soon as I would mention existence of MK Ultra case, there would be, and it was on two occasions, ambulance vehicle that come to pick you up and they take you away. So why would you want to talk about, even when you have proofs about it, about MK Ultra? You better not, because you will disappear, if you understand me what I'm saying. So during MK Ultra, the stuff that went on was a completely different reality. This is the world where I did requested for people to be also killed, eliminated, for Slovenia to be nuked out of existence. And if you understood my story about the stuff that I did explain about Slovenia, this isn't difficult to understand why. Why would you not? I mean, the only reason you would not would be because you're weak, because you are either you're weak or because you are afraid. So something that I continue to disagree with when it comes to psychiatrist Kapš, when it comes to Milan Kučan, Slovenian police, Slovenian politicians, something I continue to, we're just gonna say, I'm not brave. I don't want to be a brave guy, this is a brave guy, or whatever. I don't want to be seen like this. Let's just say something I continue to disagree with, okay? With being either afraid, intimidated, or whatever. Simple as this. I don't think there is anything else to add to this video about Milan Kučan. This is about Milan Kučan video. Milan Kučan certainly did not, absolutely contrary to these idiots from Poland, Czech Republic, these animals from Slovakia, attribute to the peace in Ukraine. This was a hellboy that assisted Russia militarily with as much as espionage and financially. If you still don't believe it, it was a lot of money that was stolen to the Serbia and to the Russia. Why the fuck would you believe that this guy is not a pure evil if you're a Polak or Slovak or Czech, unless you want to have a Russian boot inside of your country again, a Russian tanks running, like they did and in Warsaw and in Prague, and in the Budapest. It's beyond my understanding. But these people are fucking animals. They were violent, they were prone to violence, they really liked the violence. And from that perspective, I can understand that the truth is sometimes not exactly the excitement. Not going to say that people look for, but people really look forward to alternatives to normal life, and that's what MK Ultra offers, plenty of it. MK Ultra offers to the people all kinds of excitement, a lot of fuck, financial awarding careers, good careers, businesses, all kinds of clownery. And that's why people do it. People do it for different reasons, for all kinds of reasons. You found it's like a little store, like a little candy store, where you can just find all kinds of stuff in that store. And so that's why it's so attractive, so luring Now, if they really do have the recording from Milan Kuchon instigating in bombardment, but in our house, Milan Kuchon claimed that I was the one argued. You're talking about in my 7th grade, 8th grade, this guy literally argued with Illuminatis inside of our kitchen that I was the one who requested bombardment of the Kursk train rail, not station, but the area rail. This obsession of Milan Kuchon, however, just as I suggested, he also claimed, all kinds of stuff. I explained about how his violence pertained to the statues of the partisan memorials, how he presented that issue, that I sided with the Nazis, and those kind of issues, to the degree that again, the same shit as I explained about these Slovenian memorials dedicated to the partisans of the World War II resistance, or hostages being killed by the Germans, by Italians during the World War II. It's exactly the same thing that he put in your mouth. You said, which you did not say, but you said, and he continued to torture you, but you said. And then he says, we have the proof. To this type of degree of torture that take you from house to house, that goes for not 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, you probably have to do to the human to get him say, yeah, I said whatever the fuck you say. This shit went on my entire life. He did not go 1 time, 2 time, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, or whatever. At one point in time, it's just as I explained. Sometimes in 1990, whatever the hell that was. Sometimes in I don't even know. I don't want to get into this stuff. I cannot go on shift like this. And I started to believe that because of injustice that was done to me at Šmarješke Toplice, were tortured from house to house and told things that I had nothing to do with it. Really, both sides of the family were involved in Nazi resistance. My mother's brother was killed in a battle as a partisan with the German troops. They killed him. My family from father's side was at the rail station ready to be deported, probably to Dachau, not Auschwitz. My grandfather was a secretary of the city during the World War II that supplied partisans with the medications and stuff like this. This is basically how I even came on a fucking picture. I feel that they did not even take any kind of child. That maybe because of such a heavy family involvement into the resistance during the World War II resistance, but my single grandmother had all the children enrolled into the resistance. Every one of them was a member of this Svobodilna Fronta, whatever, or Communist Party or whatever. The people were just involved in whatever. Actually, not Communist Party, but I think this National Resistance or whatever. How these people can do this to their children, basically, is beyond my understanding. Even if I would be at least, and it's wrong, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If I would be at least from the family that would pertain to the supporters of the occupation, somebody that participated as a white guard, that I would be a grandson of the white guards, or The thing is, I was not. It was exactly the contrary. But to these people, just as I stated, to these people, nothing is holy. Nothing is saint to them. Obviously, nothing is fucking saint to them. They do the stuff, whatever the fuck they want. And they say, you said, you know, it's not about you said, I said, but it's about you said, we have it, even audio recorded and so on, and they continue to beat you up and stuff, do stuff to you, till you know, you are so insulted on inside. That's how it goes under MK Ultra. That's how they get people say stuff that they have nothing to do with it. That you say, yeah, okay, I did, whatever. And from that point on, they continue to build the second stage of this stuff. That's basically about the statement that you have made. They want you to repeat that as many times as possible, continue to video record, and demand from you also to take that kind of attitude, with which you have no fucking connection to, whatever. And that's basically how they create your personality. Not really in my case, but because, like I said earlier, I did not allow the two softwares, the two programs to run parallel at the same time. The people that do get lost, they get killed. It's all kind. They go out there and they cause, like Howard Unruh did, let's say, the first American classic, MK Ultra classic, the first American shooter. Rampage shooter that killed 12 people, injured 15. And so this is how they get their stuff done. So that's all there is in respect to this rail station in Kursk. But I think it's an important one. Because, you know, 1983 was really, really far away. Maybe even 1982 was really, really far away from finally what became 2014. You know, 1982, 1983 was far, 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 far away. Very, very, extremely, extremely far away from, unbelievable, from Ukrainian nuclear denuclearization. For fuck's sake, if my words would be so important, bomb the Kursk, I think Ukrainian side would not give, which was a stupidity, but they had 1,600 nuclear bombs. They have 1,600 nuclear bombs, and I did explain to you that, you see, 1982, 1983, this stuff is matching, it just came to me right now, this stuff is actually matching the information that I gave you in respect to Ukrainian denuclearization process. This was probably the stuff that was used by the Russians to disarm Ukraine from nuclear weapons. And yes, the so-called denuclearization process, which I am referring to one as a total corruption, that was basically Russians selecting their own politicians in Ukraine by eliminating what otherwise could represent the Ukrainian interests, till they created a picture which is solely consists of their own politicians, their own agenda, but enough politicians not to control but to intimidate and also kill, eliminate those that could possibly pose a threat to them. This is what they started to do. This is what they started to do sometimes in 1982. Even I think earlier, in 1980, they had debates about that stuff. And American Illuminatis participated in this stuff already since at least 1982. We're talking about the denuclearization process. This is very, very important for me to declare this kind of stuff, you know. This will be properly coordinated, timing-wise. No, the nuclearization of Ukraine did not take place in 1995. In 1995 is only on the paper. It's bullshit, it's nonsense. You have no fucking idea how many sessions, MK Ultra sessions, I have witnessed to inside of the Ukrainian Rada. since its independence, the Ukrainians had the same thing, some kind of a skupshchina, whatever it was, also in the Ukraine. But when the Ukrainians became independent, we became in the independent state, he was different. I don't know what the fuck happened. Right now is the first time I'm thinking about that. They even talk about something that they moved to another location or whatever they were doing and stuff like that when they became independent and so on. But before that, it was really, to me, it looked nasty. It looked like boring inside. I mean, you know, and this feeling I had did not even last. When it was a big excitement when the Soviet Union collapsed and Russians had to go, and there was a lot of hope given to me. Now we will be different. Now it will be different, and this and that. The period of difference in Ukrainian history of the violence, what used to be under the Soviet Union occupation, and what became a newly independent Ukraine, it only lasted 3 months. There was maybe 3 months there was no violence in Ukraine, as far as my case, in this transition period, before Ukraine even became independent. Once Ukraine became independent, the violence went on, basically. They continued to go with the same shit. You know, there was more stuff to do. They had to steal Ukrainians all the weapons. As they did, they took all the nuclear arsenal to Russia, and once they, Putin was the man behind the theft of the nuclear arsenal in Ukraine, you know, and once they accomplished that, their task was to keep the harbor in Sevastopol, a military harbor, the contract. The so-called contract they extended, they got their people. Ukrainians displayed in my face enormous hypocrisy, like like if they would be even afraid to say no to the Russians. This is after they gave the Russians the nuclear arsenal. No? So that's pretty stupid. Back in 95, when Ukrainians did this kind of a disgusting stuff, 96 and what became 97, Sevastopol military, I would even say that if the Russians invaded Ukraine, it would only be annexation, because I did not recognize Ukraine as a country. I absolutely disagreed for Ukraine to be independent country because of this stuff, because of this violence, because of this treason, because of doing bad stuff to themselves, demanding from me to see this as a failure, as if I did something wrong, as if I was guilty about it, as demonstrating me the might of the Russia basically through the treason against themselves. If Russians did invade it back then, I would say it's just an annex. Because of such a cretinoidic, idiotic Ukrainian attitude, so murderous, backstabbing, treacherous, disgusting attitude they had, that I would fart on Russian invasion in 95, in 96, and 97. Tui! I would not care less. Water, nothing. If somebody would say to me they invaded Ukraine, this is why it became really dismissive, because, there was no peace. The violence against me became in Ukraine enormous, till finally Putin calmed them down in 2014. Then it was like they say in Spanish language, el foco se abrió. The eyes finally opened. Okay? Until 2014, the Ukrainians were cuckoo people. I was so upset with them that because of what they were doing, that I cared less about. I continue to support them. I continue to throw out MK Ultra. In real time, if they were invaded, I would not give a fuck about. Somebody tell me, actually no. In real time, I continue to champion for Ukrainians, despite being beaten up during MK Ultra. And during MK Ultra, I continue to wave. I continue to remain a flagship of Ukraine in spite of everything. In spite of being beaten up, betrayed, everything. Really from the perspective of observer, truly, the multitude, the lunacy of Ukrainian state in respect to 95 and 97, when they even signed the contract, giving the Russians the right to remain militarily present in Crimea, in Sevastopol. This was sick. This stuff was sick. This stuff was so sick that it couldn't be more crazy than what it was. This stuff was actually so bad. I recall when they told me they always demand during MK Ultra for everything that treasoners do to see as a personal tragedy. Yeah, they mentally break you completely. And so they even demanded from me, they told me, the country, this was a Slovenian police, they brainwashed with this, they brain massaged with this stuff. MK Ultra, this is a terrible psychological torture. Molestation is, a terrible molestation is what this is. This is like you would have a pedophile molesting child and so on. It's exactly identical to that stuff. And so these molesters here from Novo Mesto police station, they insisted that they demanded for me to see the 1,600 nuclear warheads that Ukraine gave to the Russia. They demanded for me to see Eastern Europe as whole. They say yes, the country that could defend the whole Eastern Europe. The news that you will not like is the country that could defend the whole Eastern Europe. Your political ideal just decided will give all its nuclear armament back to the Russia. This is the way this is. This is the way this stuff was. They fucking kill you, man. They dement you completely. You really have to be strong in your brain not to get fucking crazy. But as they say, whatever doesn't break you, it makes you stronger. Except that in my case, it was extremely difficult not to get broken. Well, I guess it did not broke. It did not broke. But this is the way this stuff was done. So I would say at the end of the day, I would say that majhen človek, velikanska svinja, small man, enormous swine, Milan Kuchan, 157 centimeter tall. It was still not his. I believe he took the order from the Russians to do exactly what I stated, basically to make claims that I was the one who demanded bombardment of the Kursk rail station. I think it was Russians that indoctrinated him that they needed this stuff because they had a plan. Just like they disarmed, they had a plan already for the Sevastopol way before they disarmed Ukraine, way before they took the nuclear weaponry away from Ukraine. They had this way before. So you know, it's Vladimir Putin. When I call Vlad, you know, Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin was the most satanic figure that was involved in MK Ultra. The biggest evil, like you could rate, the most evil person involved in it was Vladimir Putin. This was the most poisonous individual. This was the individual who aimed at war on Ukraine all the fucking time, all along. It was based on Vladimir Putin, really, in 19... I would even say, yeah, but just about at that time, that this man was obsessed with a possibility of war on Ukraine. This was the man, this was really a Russian Hitler that was eager to have a war on Ukraine. No. So this video goes to clarify that it was from the Russian side that Slovenian tool Milan Kučan was the one that took initiative about blah 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 bombardment of Kursk rail in as early as in 1982, whatever. In a 6th grade of the grammar school is what I was. So I think that this was a Milan Kučan who got this kind of shit. And yeah, just about something like this. It was such a bad stuff that went on in that Kursk rail station. I just recall more stuff. 4th grade, 3rd grade. So much beating, so much torture that went on since my childhood at this Kursk, at this rail station especially. The rail station was the most violent. They would distribute me through the city. It would be even some politician, I don't know, mayor of the city, whatever. They had nice ladies even. I even met some Russian beautiful ladies that I was very much motivating in marrying girls in Kursk. I remember that stuff as well. They all got married, and as Russians grew up, they demonstrated the disgust in my face to even think about marrying somebody like me and so on. They get well educated and everything, and so that would be completely wrong in a sense that I was so rejected, neglected, and demanded from me to see myself during MK Ultra as a trash, as magic. I don't know how you would say, like the ultimate garbage, basically. Not like a human being, but as a trash. This is what the Slovenian police, Ljubljana politicians, psychiatrists, this is what they enforced, this is what they demanded basically from me, to see myself as not as a human being, but as a dirt trash, completely, totally. Now, I just did not have any plans for bombardment of the Soviet Union under MK Ultra. Also, I can testify because of the nuclear armament of the Soviet Union. I did not contemplate it on absolutely, even during MK Ultra I did not. Even during MK Ultra I did not contemplate it on bombardment of the Soviet Union. I was asking these people if it's possible, actually, if it's even possible to use a nuclear because it was all the time repeated to us since we were in a kindergarten that the Soviet Union has a nuclear bombs. And what is the nuclear bombs? I tell you what the nuclear bomb is. I must have seen I had a gas mask when I was in a 2nd grade of the grammar school, when I was just 8 years of age, training. They were training us to take the gun apart and all kinds of stuff. and to have us watch the movies about the nuclear bombs in this school where I was. The Soviet Union this, Soviet Union, I don't know what the Soviet Union, nuclear bomb this, I was, this red explosion and so on, that they, nuclear bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, nuclear bomb, Soviet Union has, Soviet Union, this and that, nuclear bomb. I was, honestly, as a child, a little bit drunk from this bullshit that they were instilling us, and I don't think other kids were any different, because what the fuck does it make sense to have a military and all this, and if they have these nuclear bombs? I just did not understand. It was so stupid, so hectic, this whole thing, that it didn't make any fucking sense. Nobody explained that that's also other countries, that they would use nuclear bomb on them if they would use them. Everything was about nuclear bomb, nuclear bomb. The Russians have nuclear bomb and they get nuclear bomb, and Americans evil, nuclear bomb, American Nazi, this and that, and Soviet Union nuclear bomb. So you have to ask yourself, what the fuck, what about these other countries, You never got the answer on that stuff. Why, you ask yourself, why the fuck do you exist? Why is your country still exists, basically? Because it's Josip Broz Tito. Josip Broz Tito has a strong military. Josip Broz Tito this, Josip Broz Tito scared Stalin, So then you gotta ask yourself, how the fuck did he scare the Stalin if the Stalin has, I don't know how many nuclear bomb, I mean, simple as this, you gotta ask yourself, why the fuck did people fought the Soviet troops in Prague and in Warsaw and in Budapest, if it's a nuclear bomb, This is Slovenia, in 1970s, late 1970s, early 1980s, fucking hectic, crazy, completely insane. But this is the way it was. I had no intention for the takedown of the Russia till the takedown of the Russia was this was a parallel, with already, with the war on Iraq, before the war on the Iraq, when Iraq invaded Kuwait. I figure out that that there was a time that United States of America should just upon the fall of the Soviet Union, sometimes like in 1986, I started to contemplate on that the Soviet Union, which was going down, I started to propose it. I gave the proposition that would be a good time, however, to strike with a nuclear armament Russia, basically to take one down, basically to just take on the Russia with everything. They could not even maintain their fucking fleets overseas, their bases and stuff like that. Financially, they were completely in a ruin, technologically fucked up, behind the time. I figure out that this would be an awesome time to use and take the whole Russia down with it. So there would not be even a peaceful separation from this republic, but instead it would just be really a nuclear strike on Russia. I will explain this stuff. A little earlier I said that I would not do the bombardment of this Kursk rail, this pertains to this particular situation. It pertains to this particular location. I just realized. But overall, the picture about the Soviet Union, about this Russian evil, was different. It was different. I did have, in fact, idea that the best thing would be to simply, rather than to wait for the peaceful disintegration of the Soviet Union, would be just to strike Russia. And the one actually who gave me idea about that, and I'm not sure, again, I got an idea, or was it the Prince Charles? I did wrote about that stuff already too. So this is again something that you have to take time to think about. Again, going to MK Ultra, to the certain period, to the certain issue, and then investigate that one. As simple as this. When it comes to the Kursk rail station, not, however. The Kursk rail station, once they started to put the words in my mouth, well, I probably started to get violent about this Russian violence. Well, the Yugoslavia had fallen apart in 91, so I estimate that sometimes in 1986 that I was open about also the ideas that Serbs pushed in my mouth about bombardment of openly in front of the Russians in Kursk. The Serbs, no longer Slovenian police only with a Kocan, but the Serbs would demand from Russians solidarity, and they would demand completely different attitude. In 86, probably I was not even afraid to send them to hell. Simple as this. Russia was just what it is. I was a nobody. I was from Slovenia. If you were a Slovenian, Croat, probably also Macedonian or Bosniak, maybe even Montenegrin, you were not a human being. If the Serbs said for you in the Russia to the Russians that you're no good, then they wanted to kill you, Russians. This is just the way it is. This is basically, I'm giving you exactly in and out on the way it is. I started to contemplate on a possibility to strike Russia with a nuclear arsenal probably in 1986. In 1986 it became clear that Russia will no longer be capable to self-sustain economically, completely lagged behind West, catastrophic, with military in complete decay, fuck up, incapable to maintain their own nuclear arsenal, enormous expense. They were facing really problems everywhere with outdated technology, everything. And so I'm not even sure, was it me, was it Charles, but I know it was the Charles that screwed me up. And I don't know. I mentioned this to Americans. I think I mentioned this to Americans, and then it was the Charles that got this to attention, and he brought this to attention to Americans and to everybody inside of our house, sometimes like in 1988. So he fucked me in front of everybody. Boy, was I fucked. When this came out that I suggested American sides, this actually nuclear takedown of the Russia, this goes to 1982. I was so wrong about it. It's just I started to think about, and then you bring the memories back. I was the one who started to propose American side, and Americans fucked me. I was the one who told them, that's George Bush Sr., that would be the best thing to just do, uh, you know, to just strike Russia, you know, at one point in time. And because they mentioned me this wonderful technology, nuclear and stuff like that, you know, and this and that. And so I knew from the school, you know, that this is the country that they can do it and so on. And American presidents were assuring me that this was not such a big deal when it comes to technology, that the Russia has nuclear bombs and stuff like that. They told me we have it too, you know. So but I said, but you know, the Russia has a lot of this stuff. Yeah, but Russia doesn't have the stuff like we have, and so on and so forth. We have better and this and that. And I said, then fucking strike them. This go might be even in 1980, not even in 1980, 1982. And I said, you know, then fuck them, you know, do it. And I think this was all the stuff that was used for denuclearization of Ukraine. Hard to tell who the fuck was behind all this stuff. Hard to tell. I know that they profiled weaponry, Ukrainian nuclear arsenal. They classified Ukrainian nuclear arsenal into two different categories. One category was outdated, old weaponry, and the other one was still highly effective. Three categories, and then was a third category which was in between. They were literally classifying, probably based on age or whatever, what to do with the weaponry. Talking about the Russians. The Russians were the one they were inspecting this weaponry in Ukraine. Through this type of stuff, they gave themselves a reason to do exactly this kind of stuff. Okay. That much about the Kursk rail station. But really, the first time that I wanted the Kursk rail station to be bombed, without the prior blah blah, there was some very bad stuff done to me in 89, in 90. I might have wished for one to be blown up. But the first time that I really wished to get them flattened out, this was exactly I would say 1989, that I wanted this place to be blown the fuck out of existence during MK Ultra. The one who participated in this and knew all about it in this violence very long time was Vladimir Putin. It have stricken Vladimir Putin straight into the heart. He became scared like a shit when he saw this stuff here, when he saw this rail and stuff like that. This basically, thanks to Milan Kuchan, I started to really view this whole thing as a potential, you know, how beautiful would it be, you know, that you just blow the fuck out here, you know, that you make a crater right there, and all these rail tracks that connect the Russia from one end to the other, you know, that this goes not really exactly like this. It's a little bit exaggerated from Slovenian police, the way they gave the importance. No, not exactly. You can see on the map, the rail map of the Russia, and you're gonna get. I'm not gonna be doing this. Uh, different different cities that you need to use to connect, to interconnect. Uh, I exaggerated with my statement, which was based on MK Ultra, but yeah, there are different cities that interconnect Russia. Kursk, however, was just really the entry city to the Russia, and Kursk was just extremely important city when it comes to logistics for my MK Ultra case. This was very important. Uh, you know, you can see here it will take you to straight to the Moscow, and yeah, once you're in the Moscow, you go everywhere. All the roads, as you see right there, they go through the Moscow. But yeah, from Kursk, obviously you can travel to Kazakhstan, etc., etc. No, that does make no sense whatsoever. Putin was really concerned about this future of the rail station, the prospect of the rail station. As soon as the Soviet Union had fallen down, my gestures for the Russian violence became louder and louder. And I started, yes, in 1989, in 1990, 91, you could hear me at the Kursk rail station already actively participating in, that this is loudly. I gave the statement, this is what needs to be done, that this is a good, beautiful target. Deliberately did so because of the people that were around me, and I'm glad I did, because I'm sure it's audio recorded, maybe even video recorded stuff from the Russian perspective for sure. Milan Kuchan, you take it whichever way you want, this stuff, how much Milan Kuchan had to do in invasion of Ukraine. I would suggest Ukrainians to look into themselves. Every enemy you eliminate is not only one enemy less, but the opportunity to move on to the next one. And the more of those you take out, the more people are going to see themselves as humans in the mirrors. And that's how the human conscience level of self-awareness is rising. The higher the expectations from the state, the less treason can persist within the state. The less there is a possibility for a treason, for the bad stuff to happen. This is basically the way it works. I don't like to keep, it's like you keep the trash around your house. Don't like to do that stuff. The best is just to clean one out, not to keep one hanging around, stink, cause trouble, and even make perception to the people, if it's at the top of the state, that you have to be careful, that you have to fear, etc., basically of your own state. That's how the state fails apart. When it comes to the Milan Kuchan, Slovenia is a problem. Slovenia itself is a big problem. This is a Kaliningrad number 2, and they might have whatever they have right there. But in my case, it still is. It's 2025, and it's never gonna change regardless. It's a Kaliningrad number 2, and it's not Milan Kuchan who makes this country. It's the people of Slovenia who gave Milan Kuchan the right to do this. They harbored him. Entire Slovenian parliament since independence of Slovenia in 1991 was implicated, involved with many of parliamentarians engaging directly in a physical torture against me. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you about Milan Kucan. I don't know what to say about Milan Kucan. Milan Kucan in Slovenia, this is like, they kept him like a bear, you know. He literally was like a royalty in this case. So, no, Milan Kucan was a tool of the Russians, not like crazy Polacks with the Czechs figure out. He was and he is a real tool in hands of the Russians. Now, I find myself disgusting when I talk to you about this stuff. I mean, I find it disgusting myself to talk to you about this stuff because I was the one who was drugged up, you know. Usually people mention stuff like this and it's a police cars that stop by and they open the criminal docket. They take this to the court. If it's the case, like MK Ultra case, they end this. Then what they do is they investigate, etc., etc., etc. Because obviously the Slovenian intelligence community is deeply involved in it. Who the hell is more involved in it than Slovenian intelligence community? Nobody ran this other than Slovenian intelligence community. Police is just the extension of the parliament. Intelligence, SOVA, the so-called SOVA, was the one who enforced this stuff. This was the intelligence community whom Slovenian police continue to assist. If that would not be the case, then this intelligence community of Slovenia, you know, they would simply, and they are required to report this to the NATO, to others, and complain and so on. But they did not, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about Milan Kucan. It's a pretty disgusting subject. It's pretty disgusting. The man is disgusting as he gets. The man is a swine, is a pig. You know, I tell like this, it doesn't help. You know, a silence basically is the answer. That's all you get. You know, that's how it is. And it's not because of Milan Kucan. This goes to United Nations, it goes to US Justice Department of State, European Court for Human Rights, European Commission, and so on. The man is disgusting, but so there are others. I don't know what to tell you about this stuff. Not a good stuff. Not a good stuff. Even I feel that I lost time talking about this stuff. The rail, the Kursk rail, that fucking rail was ugly, old rail. Dark, ugly. The only thing that was good looking was this main rail station that I demonstrated you right there. Everything else was whatever it was just a rail. But then Putin really built some kind of project that made the whole thing, maybe if I see this stuff, look different. Modernized this, Putin modernized this rail with, no. See, very, very difficult to make these videos. It was not Putin who modernized. The one who modernized this were French. The one who modernized this were British. The one who modernized this were Americans. There was some kind of a groundbreaking technology that was given to the Vladimir because of this rail, yes? Through this the bagaria, Russian bagger got American technology. This is how they bag. The Russian baggers were doing this stuff, so they get the freebies from British, from Americans, and so on. And here in this place, in Kursk, they were facing some kind of problem. I don't know what kind of problem it was. Some kind of maybe signaling, logistic, whatever the fuck issue it was. Whatever the hell it was, they did modernize that. They did They did modernized, technologically upgraded this to fit really the most modern. Yeah, I would say probably. Let me see. This side here, I think they modernize of the rail, and I think that this one. I think the last one that was this one here. Whatever the fuck happened here, I don't know. I yet need to see if they would. Let me see what exactly I get. No, this doesn't look like modern. Yeah, this is the way it was. This is what it was. This looks to me like the oldest one. The oldest one. Exactly where I was. I am just trying to figure out. So this stuff here, this is this. Aha, okay. No, this is old stuff, but let me see this here. Okay, go here. I did not even yesterday, somehow some way I found myself in a rather interesting area that reminded me of modernization. Let me see this, and I did not follow through this. This is just a question for Zelensky. Go zoom myself out on the map. Maybe Zelensky wanted me to remind me of this stuff, but what is this stuff? Is just this, to evaluate this, and to give the Russians. Prehodny most. Let me see this stuff here. Technologically, Putin, it was a big deal for the Putin. Whatever. I was inside of this main rail, this area where they have all this technologically supervised. Supposedly there are two buildings from what I recall, and that right there might be just one of the buildings. This place since I was child. The building that you see right there since I was child, this stuff here. This here, Vladimir Putin technologically upgraded this sometimes, I think in 2099, something like this, 98 is saying to me that there was a technological breakthrough, something that he technologically upgraded this in 98, we're gonna say 99, 2000, just so that you're not gonna say I was not there. If you look at your files technologically, this train station took off in 98, I would say. Yeah, 98, we're gonna say about 98. Yeah, Americans brought this freebies, free gifts, British, Americans, Germans, whoever the fuck it did. And it was a big deal for Putin. It was another beautiful mark. That's how Putin collected, likes till he was appointed as a president of the Russia. I can tell you all this stuff now. We're going to use this as an MK Ultra proof, So this here is a station, a train station. Stuff that you have seen earlier, that was a classic. That was a classic, the grass, the rail and stuff like this next to. Maybe more torture went in this location than any other location, who the fuck knows. This is a very, very, very bad location. They like this kind, like a pedophiles, they like secluded areas and so on. I don't know why they talk about the pedophilia. I don't know why they talk about hijackers, traffickers. The biggest hijackers and traffickers and pedophiles are police officers, your politicians, your presidents, your prime ministers. They know this kind of areas, this remote shit behind the bushes all too well. They know more about this because they participate. That's how they start their political careers. They start them through the crime. That's how the state obtains the clearance, and that's how they issue them a clearance. Based on trust is based truly on crime. I don't know, for me, from my perspective, being victim of this shit, I'm 53 years old, and they still, they're silent. They're so silent like ants. They just watch. They just listen. They see what we remember, you know. And that's all there is to it. They don't even dare to open their mouths. They don't dare to say anything, you know. It's just they watch and they listen. They know more than anybody does. When I see these people, I see pedos. When I remember the violence that went on, like on a rail tracks, next to the rail tracks, just like I demonstrated right there, that's what this shit is. That's what this stuff is. For this stuff here, let me see this stuff here. What I demonstrated you earlier, they even suggested me that they contemplated on closing them. I don't think so. I don't think that they are in capacity to do this kind of stuff, because it's too damn important for them, this stuff, this rail. Maybe this is not even so important. I'm thinking about the really importance of this place here, what kind of importance this carries. Yo, these garages and this shit here. There is plenty here you can do to people. And it's I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I really do not know. The atmosphere here, this politician, whoever the fuck it was, the mayor of the Kursk, let me see that. I think he had like 2 daughters, and he lived in the apartment building, a tall apartment building. Oh yeah, now is this shit here. Yeah. I knew them all, yeah, because they were all involved in this stuff. I don't know what to tell you. This is just. Yeah. Yeah. Long time ago was this stuff. Oh, this switch is gonna go like this. Yeah. I guess the Russians are not so generous with their photos. They're more stronger on hideouts and stuff. 2001 International Nuclear Safety. Yeah, that's interesting. But we're not going to be doing this today. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. That's much younger man right there. and I have to see face a little bit to recognize one. Yeah, probably if I go to the Russian language and do the same thing, maybe that will help me out. This Ivanovsky Nikolai. Let's see this here. I'm not too good with this stuff anyways. It's been a while since I was playing with this stuff here. Okay. Kursi ne. Нет, нет. No, there is no Volga here. Se Versta. You know what? Let's make this a little bit easier. Okay, I'm not doing this. Yeah, this is about the Kursk stuff. Yeah, 1998. You know who gave them a technology for this upgrade, technological upgrade? This building here that you have seen a little earlier. Exactly the one, yeah. Oh, let's see this stuff here. Oh, I would say that this is the building where they have this computerized stuff, whatever they did. They modernized. They modernized this train station in 1996. 96, 97. This is how the Russian beggar Vladimir Putin modernized it. Through the violence, need to kill me, and then my allies from the West, in order to spare my life. This is the way it was translated to me. They gave the Ruskies, a better technology. So, there you go. I fucked you in the end anyways. 96, 97, this place was modernized, and I fuck Putin Vladimir personally straight, because he took the credit for it, and I took the credit from him right now, to fuck my Western allies, to point out exactly about what went on in this place here. Yeah, Mount Everest of violence. Mount Everest. Too bad if I could only get through that picture again, see one. No, not this here. At the end of the day, I am again the one who takes the prize at home. At the end of this video, I have the MK Ultra proof that there is nothing you can do about it, and makes this account factual for what it was and is. See this? You see this here? This is one of the oldest. This is how I would be, just like this. They were telling me that they were contemplating on closing this here, this rail, wherever this rail goes. During MK Ultra, they were telling me that they contemplated on closing this down, but that they kept one open still because of me. This is how I was told. And exactly the way you see these rails, it was not always everything on the rail station, but they would take me away and it would be like this, just like this. Very difficult to video record, audio record somebody, but you know, in Russia you never had to worry about any of that stuff. This is what this is. The Kursk people, I don't know, it's exactly what I told you. The government was the one who did this stuff, enforced this stuff. If you're gonna hit this stuff, tell them to get the fuck out of there before you do it. Spare their lives, but other than that, blow the fuck out this stuff. Knock it out. As a matter of fact, you're gonna knock this out. There was a facility here that I have seen earlier, and that would be the facility to hit. This is where they have the computerized system inside, but that you're not going to make any difference because the computers, this computerized centrala, whatever it is, no, you don't make anything out of this one. The rail, this here, let them know and then do it so the people can move away. All this, everywhere here they had me. Everywhere they had me here. This was like a pleasant place to be, this place here. They were treating me well here for a very long time, but sometimes in 1986 it's also where violence started also here. Yeah, the Serbs, just as I stated, 1986, this is where they had a lot of baby ladies inside of this building, whatever this building is. Yeah. This is with the Borut Pahor all over the place. Kuchan, Borut Pahor, this stuff here. Do me a favor. Bomb the fuck out of this train station here. Clean it out. Clean it out. Make a fucking craters here. So they'll have something out of my memory there. They'll remember me by something at least. Nothing but violence. I'm gonna say nothing but violence, but pure evil, I would say. Pure evil. As fucking evil as he gets.